Welcome back. Well, India's second quarter GDP number was a shocker, coming in at around 5.4%, which is much lower than what the street was working with. Hormaz joins us to tell us what brokerages are making of this and what do they expect in terms of action going ahead. Hormaz, take it away.
The overall consensus after such a GDP number is that brokerages across the board have slashed their FY25 GDP targets for the country. We start off with one by one of them and start off with JPMorgan, and where they say that the clamor for the rate cuts in the next week, the recent policy is growing louder, but they expect a rate cut only in the month of February next year, although the chances of a rate cut this week have increased now considering the print of the GDP that we have given, although that might not happen, but they can see some liquidity measures being announced by the Reserve Bank of India this week. Now, Citi has also revised its FY25 GDP growth to 6.4% from 7% earlier, and they say that this elevated inflation print also that has come in, that makes the case for a December rate cut unlikely, but the RBI may announce a CRR cut in order to ease some liquidity pressure in the system. And they also said that they could see some renewed urgency in public capex for the second half of FY25. Now, Goldman Sachs has lowered its CY24 and FY25 GDP targets to 6.4% and 6% respectively, but it has maintained its 2025 and FY26 GDP targets at 6.3%. respectively. Now, Jefferies is saying that the slowdown in the government spending and the bank credit growth, both of these issues are transitory and they should reverse in the second half of FY25. And they're saying that the possibility of a CRR cut in the upcoming policy meeting have now increased considering this print. And Morgan Stanley also expects the rates to remain steady this time around, but they are expecting the RBI to announce some liquidity easing measures like an open market operation or an OMO. So the rates, there's still some divergent opinions on rates, but some liquidity easing measures are definitely in the offing.
All right, we take that point. Liquidity easing measures will be interesting to see how much they would be absorbing, because liquidity still is at a surplus right now. So whether they go ahead and increase the capex, as you pointed out, something that we'll keep an eye out on as well. Let's get into